So we've just got here to the Y. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, so a nice early start. And after walking the stretch, it became apparent that the majority of it is very, very wide and deep and very, very slow. But towards the bottom end, as you can probably see in the foreground, there's a lot of shallower water that's particularly fast running, so it's got lots of oxygen. So the first thing to do on a river like this is to bait a swim up. We've been in the swim, I don't know, an hour or so now. I've baited it up and there's no indications of any fish here whatsoever. And in all honesty, on the Y, given the huge stock of barbel and chub that are in here, if you've not had a bite in an hour, it's wise to move. The problem is, with the river so painfully low and clear at the moment, because we've had no rain for quite a prolonged period of time, the river's dropped an awful lot and it's like tap water, and you can see a lot of the bottom for probably 3/4 of the way across. And I just feel that the fish may have moved out of this area due to the water clarity and the shallowness and moved into slightly deeper water above some rapids that are just upstream. So we'll get packed up, we'll get moved, and then we'll see you in the next swim. So we've moved swims, we've walked maybe 300 yards upstream, and obviously I told you earlier about my worries about that swim being so shallow and so clear. So we've had a look up here, and as you can see from the right hand side moving downstream, you've got some shallows and some rapids, and as it comes round there's a big pool in front of me, really close in, and there's a big crease about 3 or 4 rod lengths out where you can just tell the water, from the way the water runs, it just drops off. Now I can't help but feel that there'll be some barbel sat in there due to the fact that the water's got plenty of oxygen in it still from these shallows above it, and also it's a natural run for any food morsels that are going to come downstream. So the fish will sit in that hole and on the edge of the crease where there's plenty of oxygen for them to be able to breathe them and be comfortable, and also plenty of food for them. So we're going to get down in the swim, we're going to give it a go for a couple of hours with the feeder, and we're going to see what happens.
Barbel, fish on.
There we go, we've been in the swim I think about 10 minutes. I've had 3 casts and a couple of jagged knocks on the rod tip, and then it slammed over, and I think we're into barbel number 1 of the day. Hopefully, with a bit of luck, one of several. I think with this fast oxygenated water, they've got plenty of energy. So, and these little ones are so wiry and just full of power. There we go. Fish number 1 of the day in the net. Right, we've got the barbel in the net. It's important at this time of the year just to let it have a breather. The water's generally quite warm. I think it's been an average of about 18-19 degrees recently. So what we'll do is we'll just take off the end of the landing net and just push the handle back a bit, and we'll just let the fish rest a little bit. The fish is sufficiently recovered, the mat's nice and wet, so it's important. Out of the water, straight onto the mat. We've got a nice secure hook hold there, look in the top lip. Just pop the hook out and put it to one side. And like I said in the fight, it's not to break any records, but I think you'll agree it's a pristine little fish and a typical example of a stunning little Y barbel. I'd say 3 or 4 pound, and yeah, the pellet feeder does the business once again. So let's get her back, and hopefully, with a bit of luck, there'll be a few more of her brothers and sisters down there. So we pop her back in the net. Give another minute or so just to recover, since we've had her out of the water. The fish is sufficiently rested now, so I'm just going to drop the rim of the net and just let her swim off of her own accord. And she's gone. There she goes, back to her watery home. Sorted. So what can I say? It's been a very, very testing and trying day so far. The day started off very, very well. First swim not particularly productive, so we moved within 10 minutes. As you've seen, I had a lovely little barbel on the bank, and then after that it died a death. The sun came over the trees and there was just a flotilla, one after the other, of canoes and kayaks straight through the swim, and it just made it impossible to fish. The perils of fishing the Wye in the middle of the summer in the kids' holidays, unfortunately. So late morning the decision was made to leave the river for the afternoon, let the heat of the day, you know, do its worst, let the people enjoy the boating experiences, and more importantly for myself, recharge my batteries, because I had a very, very long drive this morning and a rather early start. So decision was made to leave, get some rest, and we're now back. As you can see, we're in the swim where I had the barbel from this morning. The swim's had a good old rest for the day. I introduced some bait upon leaving. So with the sun now on the horizon and going down, the heat of the day's gone, and I'm hoping that the next few hours we'll see a few barbel grace the banks. The Wye can be an absolute monster for eating tackle. The days that I've gone through, where I've gone through 20 hook lengths, lost feeder after feeder after feeder, has led me to believe that all you need for this river is strong tackle and a simple rig, and nothing more. The more complicated you make it, the more risk you run of losing fish and losing tackle. Likewise, the lighter the gear, because the river's strewn with boulders and rocks and bedrock and snags due to it being a spate river and it floods regularly, it makes sense to use strong gear. So starting at the reel, I've got it loaded with a 12-pound Nash NXT Decam mainline, through to which is with a 1 3/4 test curve PegOne transformer rod. Then to the business end, it's as simple as a 2-ounce Fiskey's feeder, semi-fixed on a tail rubber and swivel. So for the cast it's nice and solid, but then as soon as you get a bite it pulls off and it's free running. So should a fish snag on the mainline break, the fish can lose the feeder straight away and it's free. Below that we've got about 3 foot of 12-pound monofilament hook length. I favour that over braid simply because of its abrasion resistance. It's much better in a rocky environment. To that we've got it to a link clip swivel, silicone sleeve. Just enables me, because I go through a lot of hook lengths due to the snaggy nature of the river, it enables me to change hook lengths in seconds if I'm on the fish. And then to the business end we've got a size 10 Nash PegOne hook and a couple of very small elliptical shaped pellets. Strong and simple, but very, very effective. Add to this the bait. Again, with the bait, nothing special, just a nice mix of halibut frenzy method mix, hemp and 6mm halibut frenzy pellets, just all wetted down so it just holds. Fill the feeder nice and tight. This can then take 2 to 3 minutes for it to empty out, rather than it rushing out in the fast flow and going straight away. Gives you a nice leak off a bait for a few minutes. Nice little trick when you're using a long hook length, because it's difficult, sometimes difficult to cast with the backdrop of foliage behind you. It's just to tuck your hook bait into the underneath of the feeder, and that gives you the added bonus of turning a 3 foot hook length into an 18-inch one, and you can cast it a lot easier. And upon breaking down in the river, the hook bait will come out first, travel downstream alongside the rest of all your freebies. Job done. There you go, a nice little white chub. I decided to cast in a different place in the swim, just simply due to the fact that my hook lengths kept coming back frayed and the hook points turned over. Oh, nearly lost it. And so I just cast a little bit shorter, and within seconds, this was the result. So let's get her back. Nice one. Well, we've lost the lights. I think we're going to call it a day now. You know, we're not going to do any night fishing today. We've had a couple of fish, but it's been really hard work. I think the fish may well have moved out of the area and then just not here in numbers, just due to the low water levels. So we're going to knock it on the head, and then we're going to try a different area tomorrow. Give it a few hours in the morning before the sun comes up, and see what we can do. So we'll see you then. Cheers. Well, morning all. We left you last night, just in the throes of darkness, after a tough but relatively rewarding day. And today on to a new stretch, one that I've certainly never fished before. And yeah, second cast, and we're into a hard fight in Barbel. Fishing far over to the far bank, to the overhanging willows. There's quite a lot of water between me and the fish, and there's an awful lot of streamer weed. But the strong tackle that I mentioned yesterday is doing its job of getting the fish in relatively quickly and without fear of snagging up. And there we are. Oh, fish in the net. Didn't take long. Done. There we have it, another fine example of a stunning little white barbel. Much like yesterday, peas in a pod, a lot of these fish, but I think you'll probably agree, in absolute mint condition. Barely got a mark on it, fin perfect. Now this time of year, with the clear water and the bright sun, they take on a beautiful dark bronze colour, as opposed to the sometimes pale colour that you see when the rivers have been flooded for a period of time, or when they live in particularly deeper water and the sun can't get to them. But striking colours and fighting fit. So I'm going to give her a quick rest in the net, and we'll get her back, and we'll get the rod back out again. Another brilliant white barbel. Going to finish the trip on this one. We've managed a few fish in some stunning surroundings. Even when the fishing is difficult and they're not coming to the net readily, you can't really argue with the breathtaking surroundings that you've got and the backdrops. It's a great place to spend a few days fishing. So why not give it a go yourself? Get down to the Y, employ a pellet feeder approach, and this could be a reward. A net full of hard fighting, fantastically conditioned barbel. Cheers.